What's up guys, how you doing? This is Kasich Creativity once again, back with another video. And in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make the hologram effect in After Effects. This video is going to be divided into two parts. The first part of the video is going to be showing you how to design the hologram HUD from scratch without using any plugins. So if you don't know how to make a hologram from scratch, this is a video for you. Part 2 of the video is going to be compositing the video into live footage. So if you just want to download an online hologram HUD and you just want to skip this first part of the tutorial, you can go and check out part 2 of this video. Welcome to part 1 of this video, which I'm going to be showing you how to make a hologram effect from scratch. Now when you open up After Effects, what we want to do is create a new composition. I'm gonna name this main composition. I'm going to leave the settings to HDTV 1080p, frame rate to 60 frames per second. The duration is going to be 10 seconds as noted here, and that's about it. And I am going to select OK. So the first thing we're going to do here is we are going to create the frame for a hologram HUD design. So I'm going to come here and create a right click and create new solid. I'm going to set this solid to be white so as we can see what we are working with here, and I'm going to press OK. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this rectangle tool right here, put my selector or my cursor on the center of the frame, press click and press Ctrl on your keyboard, then drag. After that, I am going to let go of my click here and let go of my control. When you press Control, it will allow you to actually drag out the shape layer in an even way throughout the frame. So now we have our frame right here. What we are going to do now is we are going to design this hologram HUD frame so it's not going to be like just square like this. So I'm going to take the pen tool and I'm going to create some masks here. I'm going to put some mask points here. I'm going to put 4 mask points here, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to also add some at the bottom here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to press V on my keyboard. Then I'm going to select these 4 mask points that are close to each other. I'm going to select these 4 here. Then I am going to click my right arrow key on my keyboard. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we have something like this. I'm going also to take again my pen tool right here. So I'm going to put mask points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and others here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do the same. Select these 4 mask points that are close to each other. Then I'm going to click the upward arrow key on my keyboard so as I can move them into the frame like that. Yeah. Now we are going to get something like this. I'm going to take the pen tool again and put some mask points here too. I'm going to put some 2 mask points here. 1, 2. And I'm going to put some 2 mask points here. 1, 2. Then I'm going to select these 2 mask points that are close to each other, and I'm going to click the left arrow key on my keyboard. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to select this bottom mask point here and click the upward arrow key so it can align with this mask point that is close to it. And I'm going to select this mask point right here, and I'm going to click the bottom arrow key here and align it. And now we have something like this. This is just a simple design to show you how you can actually customize your layer using masks. And the next thing now we are going to do, we are going to come here to our mask properties. If your mask properties are not opened, click on your solid and click M twice, and your mask properties will open up. Now what we are going to do now is we are going to duplicate this mask layer by pressing Ctrl D, and it's going to duplicate. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to take this mask 2 here and set it to subtract. And this is what will happen. What we are going to do is we are going to open up mask 2 properties here and set the expansion to -10. And now we will have something like this. Now I'm going to rename this solid here into hologram frame. You should rename your layers because in the end of the day we are going to have a lot of layers, so it's good to actually have these layers renamed so you can actually know what layer works for what specific design. Next thing we are going to do is we are going to create the screen for a hologram HUD. So I'm going to right click, select new solid, set this to white and press OK. Now what we are going to do is we are going to open the opacity here by pressing T and setting the opacity to 50%. We are going to pre-compose this mask, this layer. Press Ctrl Shift C to open pre-compose and check move all attributes into new composition, and we are going to rename this to hologram screen and press OK. We are going to open up the mask properties on this hologram frame layer, and we are going to select mask 1 and press Ctrl C to copy, then select hologram screen and press Ctrl V to paste. And now we have something like this. I did the pre-compose of the screen layer and then added the mask on the pre-composed layer we did, so as when we go back into the composition, the hologram screen composition, we can add effects and they won't actually they won't go outside, the effect won't go outside our hologram HUD frame, because if we don't pre-compose, the effects will start glitching. For example, if we open up this hologram screen composition and then I add a mask on this layer which is not pre-composed and I press Ctrl V to add a mask, if I take my effects properties here, I go to my effects and presets panel and type in TV and take an effect called bad TV warp 1 and add it to the white solid here. As you can see, the effect tends to shift here. Even if I tend to take another bad TV right here and add it in, you can see it affects the frame, the mask. It goes out of the mask and starts to create these glitches, which is not good. That's why we did the pre-composition, and when we say like we go in, delete these masks that we pasted here and leave this solid as it is, and take this bad TV and add it here. When we come back outside our pre-comp, we can see that it doesn't affect the layer, the HUD outside. So what we want to do now is, firstly, we are going to create a loading cycle that is infinite, that is going to be going circles all around. Unselect everything, come here to your tools and select the ellipse tool. Come on your screen right here and click, press Ctrl, and it will create a shape layer on your timeline. Then drag to create a circle, just like that. Now I'm going to rename this to circle 1 and press enter. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come here to my stroke properties here, I'm going to set this to white, press OK. Then I'm going to set the stroke width to 20, press enter. And now we are going to have something like this. Now I'm going to open my circle properties right here and open content, open ellipse 1, and press here add, and add in a trim paths. It's going to add trim paths 1 here, which we are going to use it for the animation. Now select the start point to 70. Now let's say 30. And then we're gonna have something like this. And now what you are going to do is click on the offset here, stopwatch, and it will create a keyframe. Now move forward, let's say 2 seconds, like here. And now we are going to add values here to 359, and it's going to create another keyframe. Now we are going to have a full rotating circle right here, but once the playhead moves outside this keyframe, the animation will stop, but we want it to continue throughout the duration. So what we are going to do now is select both of these keyframes, press Alt on your keyboard, and then click again the stopwatch. Now it will bring up the animation properties here. Now what we are going to do is click on this expression language menu, and then come here to properties and select loop out duration type, which is circle duration, and press anywhere on your timeline. Now when we move our playhead, the animation will continue with infinite rotation throughout our timeline and duration. And even if I go to my composition settings here and increase the duration of the timeline, the animation will continue rotating after this keyframe. So now we have that. I will duplicate this circle layer by pressing Ctrl D, and then what I'm going to do is set the stroke width here to something like 10. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to come here to my layer, transform, and center anchor point so it can center here. Then I'm going to press S on my keyboard to bring out the scale properties, and I'm going to scale this out. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to open my circle 2 properties here, contents, and then trim paths 1, and change the animation rotation here. I'm going to move this keyframe to 5 seconds, like here. And I'm going to also duplicate this circle 2. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the stroke properties here again to something like 40. Press enter. And I'm going to bring out the scale properties and scale this down to something like this. And what I'm going to do again is open the contents properties here, trim paths, and move this keyframe close so you can have a speedy animation. And I think on circle 1 here, I'm going to change the contents trim path. A keyframe here, I'm going to move it a bit further. Let me say something like 7 or 8 here. Yeah. And so now we'll have something like this. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to create a loading line at the bottom here. So unselect everything, come here to your to your pen tool, select your pen tool, and let me check the grid here so I can see what I'm working with. And what you want to do now is put a click here, which is going to open up a new shape layer, and click an even line right here so you can have a line. Uncheck the grid, select this stroke width to 50, let me say 70. Something like this. I am going to move this by pressing the left arrow key on my keyboard so I can center it to the frame here. Put this a bit down, and I'm going to rename this to line 1. Now we're going to do almost the same kind of process of animation on this line 2, so it won't be confusing when you're following up on this tutorial. What you want to do is open up the contents properties right here and come to add, and add in trim parts. It's going to add trim parts 1, and what you want to do is open up this trim parts and click on the start here. Click on the end here on the stopwatch. Select the stopwatch, which will create a keyframe. Move forward on your timeline, let's say to the end of this animation, and then set this to 0, which is currently on 100. I'm going to set this on 0, so it will create an animation like that. I don't want this to animate from full. I want this to start animating while I don't see this line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this end settings here. While it is currently at 100, I'm going to set this on 0. And I'm going to come here on this end, and I'm going to set this on 100. Which is a bit better. As you know, the loading line starts here like that. I'm going to select these two keyframes by pressing Shift and clicking on both of them, and pressing F9 on my keyboard so they can be easy. Yes, something like that. I'm going to open my shape 1 here, and I'm going to select stroke 1 here, and I'm going to come to line cap, and I'm going to click on this and select round cap here. This will create a design that is round like this one, which is something that I want. I think it looks cool, and I just want to have a bit of dynamic when we duplicate these other lines here. What we want to do is press Ctrl D, duplicate this line right here, set the stroke size to 30, press enter, and move by pressing Shift and upward arrow key like that. And then I'm going to open my line 2 properties, contents, shape 1, stroke, and I'm going to change this back to bat cap, so I can have just a dynamic shape style here. The next thing I'm going to do is close my stroke properties here, come to add, and add in, no, we already duplicate this. Come to trim parts settings here, and move this animation a bit closer, like 3 seconds. Select both of my keyframes, press Alt on my keyboard, and click on this stopwatch. Come to this expression language menu, properties, and loop out duration circle. Click anywhere on your timeline. And now we're gonna have something like this. I'm gonna come here to my line 1 here, come to effects, and click in blinds. I'm going to take Venetian blinds and add it on my layer 1 here. Move a bit further to my timeline so I can see here. Then I'm going to set here my blinds and change the width here. Like this, and then change the direction of my blinds. So we'll have something like this. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in some details, the ones you see, like, you know, random text appearing in your hologram. So what we're going to do here is create that same animation of some, you know, text animating, random text animating in holograms. So I'm going to take my text tool here, and I'm going to draw a text box here, and I'm just going to type in some random stuff in here. Now I'm going to click here, press Ctrl A to select everything, set the font size to 20, or let me say 30. Then I'm going to select everything by pressing Ctrl A, Ctrl C, put my cursor here at the end of the text and start pasting this. I'm going to move this text box a bit down, a bit up, like here, and continue pasting this. I'm going to select everything, change the font size to like 20, press Ctrl C, put my cursor here at the end of the text, and continue pasting. And now we'll have something like this. Now what we are going to do now is animate this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate this text box here. I'm going to open my position properties right here, set this down, put a stopwatch on this, move in 2 seconds, move this up, animate this up like here. And now what I'm going to do is select both of these 2 layers, press F9 to ease them up. I'm going to press Alt and press on my stopwatch right here, select my animation properties right here, go to properties and loop out duration circle, click anywhere on your timeline, close the properties, press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose and type, I'm going to rename this to text, press OK. Now what I want to do now is draw a mask here. I'm going to draw a mask. I'm going to click on the rectangle tool here and just draw a small mask here. And now we'll have something like this. The final thing I want to do on this hologram effect right here is to just add an image on the hologram design especially. I'm just going to add an image here. Now I've imported here this hologram icon, After Effects icon, and then I'm going to use this as my image. One thing you need to note, if you have an image that has, let me say, an alpha channel that is either black, that needs you to change the blending mode to about screen, or if the alpha track is white, you need to change it to multiply, and then you know in the end of the day, after finishing editing everything, you will have to pre-compose. The thing about this, as if you pre-compose, the alpha channel will go back to white background instead of transparent if you used blending modes. So my suggestion is you better use images that are already transparent and they don't have an alpha channel that is either black or white that will need you to add in blending modes, or you have to add a full-sized image that you don't need to change. And that is just a suggestion to help you save time during your editing. Now I have my image right here. I'm going to press S and scale this down to 50%. Let me say 70. Going to press P to open my position here, and I'm going to move this up here. Going to search in for black and white. I'm going to add this to be black and white, so it can just blend in with the hologram. So this is about designing the hologram effect here, the hologram HUD. So this is the animation we have right now of the hologram HUD. So what we want to do now is, just start adding in effects, colors, and everything, just to make it look super cool. So I'm going to move further on my timeline here so I can see what I'm working with. I'm going to start coloring this hologram and make it pop and adding it glow effects to it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to search in for a tint effect and add it to my hologram screen here. I'm going to change the tint here to light blue. Press OK. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start editing these circles. I'm going to put tint effects on these circles too. Circle 1. Set this to red. Press OK. Then I'm going to select circle 2. Add a tint effect to it. Select this to blue. And I'm going to select circle 3, and I'm also going to set the tint here to blue, the same as circle 2 here. Now press OK. I will also add Venetian blinds on circle 3 here. Change the width, change the direction, like this. Next thing I'm going to I'm going to tint my text here again. Set the tint here to red. Press OK. And I'm going to tint my lines here too. Line 1 here is going to be tint blue. And my line 2 here is going to be tint red. And now we have something like this. I will add a tint to my image here too, and tint this to blue, like that. Now it looks like audition. And now we'll have something like this. What we want to do now is select everything, add in motion blur to this, and activate motion blur to this one too. Set this back to full, and press Ctrl+Shift+C to pre-compose everything and write this. Rename. I'm going to rename this to final hard. Press OK. Now I'm going to add a glow effect to this. I'm going to start changing the settings here. I'm going to increase the glow radius. I'm going to decrease the threshold here. I'm going to increase this threshold. And I'm going to change the intensity to 2. And now we'll have something like this. Check motion blur, and so we can have motion blur on this one. So this is the basics of creating a simple hologram hard design that you can do in After Effects, and this is just a step-by-step to show you how to create one without using any plugins. So this is part 1. Thank you for watching. If you have watched this tutorial to this part, I would like to thank you. Don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe, and move to part 2 of this video, which is going to tell you on how to composite this video, this hologram hard, into your live footage. So see you in part 2 of this video.